Hi everyone, I'm Gabor.
Hey, welcome. I'm Alex.
And this is the Super Fun Awesome Happy Time pedal show. And today we have Alex.
This is the ModDuo from Mod Devices.
Very big thank you to Adriano from Mod Devices for sending this out. Hello, Adriano. Yes, so the ModDuo, it's basically a multi-effects unit. But you can sort of pick and choose what you want on it and what you don't want on it. Oh, and I should also say, big props go out to Jeremy at Red Means Recording, which is another YouTube channel. I don't know if he's watching. Hello, Jeremy. But he sort of made me... I watched his demo on this, and if you get a chance, watch his demo of that, because it's probably better than ours. Oh, I shouldn't say that. But anyway.
It's definitely worse.
Definitely worse, yes.
It's great.
He did a really, really good demo of this, and that sort of made me get in contact with the guys at Mod Devices, and they were kind enough to send us one. And it's killer, in my opinion. So
It's very cool. So it's kind of, can be whatever you want it to be.
yeah,
Probably mostly a multi-effects unit, like you mentioned, but also could be a complete front end for your home studio.
yes, it works sort of, whichever way you want to look at it. So basically you've got two inputs, two outputs. We'll get into that a little bit more later on. At the moment, we've just got the guitar going into input 1 and output 1 going to the amp, which is the Seritone OTS Mini 20 as always. You've got two knobs, which you can assign any parameter on this, and we'll get more into that as well, to any of the knobs. You also, by pushing the knobs, also you can twist them and push them. You can scroll through the different parameters you've assigned to that knob. And you've got two switches, which again, you can assign just about anything to them. On the back, you've got two USB ports, one to connect it to the computer, which if you can see now, possibly, hopefully, the screen grab. So that's sort of what it looks like on the screen. You can do just about anything on that as well, but to set up your pedal boards, it's really good to hook it up to your computer. You've got another USB input, which we'll get into later as well. We can hook other things up. You've got MIDI in and out, and you've got a network cable input, which is so you can link multiple ones together, and you can also, they have their own extended pedal board, so you can have extra switches and stuff that you can hook up to it.
Very cool.
And you've got headphone output as well.
Yeah, which is great. So basically we're just starting off as very simple form.
Yep.
It's just basically a pedal board in front of the guitar amp.
Yep.
So at the moment we've loaded up a very simple preset, which basically goes into input 1.
Yep.
Into a distortion, which is DS1 type distortion pedal.
Yep.
Orange box. A reverb, and there's just a module to adjust the gain, because it is quite hot and can clip the output.
Yes, so, because different effects and stuff, because you do have studio style effects on it as well, and there's different outputs and stuff. And I'll just quickly show it on here. So you've got this thing called a Pedalboard library, which will hopefully load in a second. Here. So these are all pedal boards that are sort of presets that you've got, and we picked one called DS1, so that's basically the one we picked out of it. So you can save your own, and you can put them in banks, which you then can recall off here. You don't have to have the computer connected. Anyway, get into it. So also the other thing I should quickly mention is on here, everything is back to front, so your input comes from the left and goes out the right. So it's the opposite to what. Yeah,
it's kind of how you'd read a book or a sentence.
Exactly right.
Yep.
Okay, so this is now the clean sound. And there's freedom within, freedom without. So at the moment, this switch, that knob, and that screen are assigned to the DS1. This switch, that knob, and that screen are assigned to the reverb. So for example, we can turn the reverb on now.
Oh, look who's here.
And there's a dog here. So you can assign all the parameters for that are assigned to this. So I was scrolling through them, and you can sort of see when I'm moving this, the knob there moves as well. So it's sort of graphic representation. So now let's run the DS1 into it.
Sure.
sounds really good actually. So it's all digital, of course, but I think it still sounds great.
Actually feels good too. Just the main thing.
Yeah. Okay, so that's basically that. So what we can do now is we can add whatever we want to it. So what would you like to add to it?
Definitely delay.
Delay, would you like? Okay. So if we look at this here, so up the top here you've got your pedal board basically. You can also, by double clicking on a pedal, you can zoom in on the pedal, and by double clicking on next to it, you can kind of zoom out. And down the bottom you've got all your all the pedals that I've got. So at the moment I have, if you look at all, I have 289 different pedals installed. That also includes MIDI related stuff. There's tons to this thing. It really is just about limitless, and it's an open source thing as well. It's pretty much it grows constantly. You have, I should quickly show this actually before we get into it as well. You have the plug down the bottom here. You have Constructor, Pedalboards Library, Banks, and Plugin Store. So if you go to the Plugin Store, it takes you to the plugin store where you can download plugins, you can update plugins, because there's constantly new versions coming out. Most things are free, but there's a few plugins you've got to pay for now. Banks, you can set up your own banks, preset banks, and arrange them whichever way you want them to do. You've got Pedalboards Library, where you have the pedalboard library that is stored on your device. But you also have an online one where you can go online, and there's a user-based thing where you can find millions of other pedalboards. Cool. And you've got the Constructor, so that's when you're in the live, like that's what's happening. Cool. And down the bottom here you have, so you can either have all of them, you can have delays, distortions. It's broken up into categories. And should also mention down the bottom you can set a global tempo, so you can sync delays, tremolos, phases, whatever. You can sync them to either the tempo you put in there, or via MIDI you can sync it to external, external clock. You can set up your MIDI ports here as well. You have global bypass, so you actually can have a thing where you can bypass. So the input 1 and input 2 and output 1 and output 2 are completely separate. You can actually run them completely independently, which we'll get into more as well. But you have separate complete bypass, true bypass for it. It shows you the CPU usage, so how much of the CPU is being used, and how much of the RAM is being used, and then these are settings and updates and all that stuff, just to quickly get into that. Okay, delay. So we click on delay. Let's get, what is this one? This is a nice big, I think it's like a rack style delay, and you can move things around just to create some more room for it. Oh, I'll just unplug that. Do you want it in front of the reverb?
Let's go after, because it's stereo. Not that it matters, because
not that it really
mono output. Yeah.
So basically all you do is we unplug this and plug it into there.
So the patches basically just drag and drop to set up your patching.
Yeah.
And
the cool thing is also you can do, which we'll get into as well, you actually have almost limitless amounts of cables. You can bypass things, and so you can have wet dry rigs and all that stuff. Okay, so we've got the delay now. Let's zoom in. Sounds actually. That's
cool, kind of like this filtered lo-fi thing.
And there's so many delays and so many different options and reverbs and drives. You can do so many things and change the sounds in so many ways. And you have EQs and all that stuff you can run after. I mean, one of the things we were saying before, which you can do with this, for example, is you can do a wet dry style rig.
Yeah.
Where, for example, I can take an output from the distortion, bypass the reverb, bypass the delay, and go straight into the output. Which means you actually have two things going separately. Hang on, I'll move that so you can see it. So you now have a cable going directly bypassing all that. So you have basically wet dry rig.
Yeah, cool.
So there's tons of options on what you can do. Let's add one more effect. What do you want to do? What else do you want?
Maybe some
Modulation. What would you like?
Many options, aren't there?
There's tons of options. So we have, if we scroll through it all, we've got phases, we've got flanges, we've got choruses, we've got ring modulators, we've got vibes, we've got vocoders, we've got more phases, we've got tremolo. You like tremolo? Do you want tremolo?
Sure. You like tremolo?
Well, you do like tremolo, don't you? So let that go before the reverb.
I feel like you're being judgy about it, though.
I'm not. Not judging you whatsoever. And so and if you click on here now on the input thing here, it shows you the 3 different things that are connected to it, and you can just unplug the one that you want to unplug.
Cool. So
now what we can do is we
could keep that in the dry signal as well as the wet signal. So we could
do whatever you want, yes. So what would you like to do?
So it could go into there and then straight from there into the output as well.
From here?
Yeah.
So bypass, okay. Yeah, so bypass that as well.
So we've got modulation going through wet and dry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which sounds suchly. Lovely.
Pretty.
But now, I know what some people may say is that we've already used up the 2 knobs with the drive and with the reverb. But what if you want to turn things like the delay or the tremolo on and off? Well, what you can do is use any kind of a MIDI switcher. So this thing is a disaster area effects DMC6, which I just happen to have laying around at home. It's one that I used for my Strymon stuff. I had a timeline and a Mobius on my Pedalboard ones. It could store presets on this with that, and you have expression and all that stuff. So what we're doing now is just with a MIDI cable.
Yeah.
We're plugging that into the MIDI in the back of this. Suchly. Right. And then now I have these extra buttons. So what we can now do is we can go to, let's say, the delay. And so up the top here, hang on, I'll zoom in. Up the top here, you have 3 things. You have a rubbish bin, which means you can get rid of that. You have the I, which is an information. It tells you sort of about the pedal. And you've got a little gear thing, which is the settings. So now you can go into that. And you can actually assign all this stuff. So I could still assign one of these knobs. So for example, if you wanted to assign, we could assign a feedback. We could assign it to mod knob 2, right? So now if you scroll through this, you can actually...
There it goes.
Oh, there it was. It was there. You can go to the feedback of it, and you can change the feedback with mod knob 2. But what you can also do is we can say, okay, so here's the on-off switch. So you click on that little slider thing below it.
Yeah.
Because both knobs are already taken. So what we can do is we can click Midi Learn. And now we can, let's say, turn that knob on, press save. And now that actually, and it's as simple as that. And this wasn't set up for anything. This is set up for Strymon pedals. So it has, I actually loaded firmware onto it to work with Strymon pedals.
Right, okay.
And I haven't changed anything yet. But now it learned MIDI, so it knows when that MIDI information is being sent.
Clever.
That's being turned on and off. It is very clever. So now we can have the delay turn on by this. But now we can also say, okay, let's quickly just do that, may as well. Let's go over here to the tremolo, and we want to do the same thing with the tremolo. So now click on that, and we want the on-off of the tremolo.
Second foot
to be, I don't know, this one. So let's press save, and now that turns the tremolo. So we've got, that turns the delay on, that turns the tremolo on.
Cool.
And that's done.
Instant Pedalboard.
Instant Pedalboard. The other thing you can also do is you can, and that's one thing that's kind of missing on this pedal in my opinion, but they're actually bringing out a new one called the ModDuo X, which has it on it, which is an expression pedal input. Cool. But, so for example, this has an expression pedal input, which is hooked up to this. So you can, and there's for example, there's whammy pedals on there. There is just about anything. You can hook that up. Yeah. You can control just about anything with that. You can actually just assign that to a knob, right?
Yes.
So you could, for example, I mean, if you really wanted to, just to quickly get into
let's
that.
do the rate of the tremolo.
The rate, that's what I was just about to do.
Yeah, cool.
So rate of the tremolo.
That's fun.
You go Midi Learn, and now move that up and down. Save. And now, I don't think you can probably see it. That now does the rate of the tremolo.
I have to turn on with
which
my
is the second one. I wonder, can you MIDI learn more than one thing onto that? So can you assign, let's say, the tremolo, but also...
I was thinking the depth of the tremolo as well.
No, I'm thinking the feedback of the delay, like something completely different.
Yeah, out of control.
Move it. Yeah, so I think you can control two parameters.
Yes, you can.
Well, it's got a high pass filter on the delay, like quite a strong high pass filter, which I'm not sure whether. Anyway, it's just the way it's set up. But so you can assign multiple things to the one, which is kind of cool.
That's very nice.
So you can have one expression pedal doing multiple things. So that's one thing, right? But the cool thing now you can do with this is, for example, right? It's like I said before, the input 1 and input 2 and output 1 and output 2 are completely separate. So what you could do is go, you know what, I'm in a band and you're the main guitarist in the band and I'm the singer in the band, but I do want to play guitar in a couple of songs, but I don't want to lug stuff around.
Sure.
Why not do this thing where we plug in a guitar into here,
and I'll let you play guitar for a couple of songs.
And then, yes, well, as well. And then we plug another cable into here, which actually doesn't go into an amp. It just goes straight into this.
Or APA.
Or APA, for example.
Yep.
And what we can now do is we can go, okay, we actually want an amp and a cab simulator running completely independently, separately, as a second thing. And let's see how much we can do until the CPU,
sure, okay,
gets completely hammered.
Using 40-something%.
Yeah. So we've got simulator.
Yeah.
So there's the amp simulators, and they actually just released not long ago a brand new bunch of cabinets, which actually sound really cool. So this is what they call their vintage cabinet. So this is a cabinet emulation, and let's use which one? That one. This is an amp emulation.
Right on.
So we're going to run the amp emulation into the cabinet emulation and out of that into the second output. And now what we're going to do, well, let's just try it. Let's just see what that sounds like. So that goes straight into here now. So this is just the amp by itself now.
Okay.
So this is now just using the amp emulation. So if I turn that off, it sounds like that, but that's still using the speaker emulation. Can I turn it? It doesn't matter. Let's zoom in. So now let's maybe turn the power down and let's turn the gain up a bit. So that's just using their amp emulation.
Yeah.
Power down a bit more.
Are you in E flat?
No, I'm in standard.
Okay.
Possibly. I didn't. Close. So, but this is now two completely separate things.
Yeah.
Running at the same time. So what you could do is, for example, now let's say what do I want? I want some distortion. Why not? And one I liked before that I tried out is the GX Governor, which is may or may not be based on a pedal that is called a Governor pedal.
Catchy name.
Yeah, by a company that starts with an M. So let's zoom in. What is happening?
And we could still both play on independent rigs.
Completely independent, and we're so he's going into an amp, I'm going straight into the PA. I could, so for example, if I had another MIDI controller, I could have all my pedal switching set up on my MIDI controller. You have all your pedal switching set up on that and your MIDI controller, and just for a couple of songs that I want to play guitar on, done, completely separate. Let's see how far we can take this. So let's go. I would like some reverb.
Yes.
Let's try different reverb.
Okay.
Let's try, and I want to put it in between the amp and the speaker.
Right.
Let's use shimmer verb. Who doesn't want a shimmer verb? And I want to assign that shimmer verb to this foot switch. And it's done. It's that easy.
Very cool.
And I mean, it's just one example. I mean, there's tons more examples. But I mean, and this is now, it's starting to look a little bit red. We're using about 79-80% of the CPU power. But I mean, there's a lot going on. We have two completely separate guitar rigs. Yeah. It's pretty cool. The other thing is you could have, if you have a duo and one of you plays guitar, one of you plays bass, you could have bass effects. Sure. You could have a bass amp. You can have a guitar amp. You don't need to bring anything. And I think the amp simulation sounds really cool. There's tons of different amps. This is the vintage cabinet. There's also a modern cabinet, which sounds better for more distorted stuff. Yep. You've got crazy... Hang on, let's get rid of the shimmer verb because we don't need it. Just to show a couple more things, you've got, if you don't want like a more straightforward distortion, you've got crazy, wacky, where is it? There's this one which is mad, this thing. Mad fuzz bit crusher thingy. It's like mega gate. Anyway, you get the point. There's tons of stuff on it. There's even, I mean, let's quickly get it. Just a couple more things that I like. For example, there's a really cool. It's called Avocado because I mean, what else would you call it? It's a stutter glitch delay.
Call it Chazwazzer.
Call it Chazwazzer. And possibly, while I'm thinking about it, possibly the coolest thing ever. Yeah. Okay, here we go. So power cut. This thing, the power cut. Yeah. No, it's like it's a tape stop basically. So like a ye olde tape stop effect. Which,
cool. Yeah.
So hang on. So let's make the decay time a bit longer. So got to turn it on. Can you play something? Oh, you got to. Okay, it still needs signal. Okay.
Yes.
That's just great.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic. And you can change the curve and you can change how long it can go. Quite long. Ooh, wow, that was interesting. So you play. It's great.
Do a quicker on that curve.
Quick one? Okay, and then let's just do a straight curve thingy. So like one like. Just that is cool.
That's awesome.
That's just awesome. So, and there's literally tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of effects. Now, there's more. Another thing we can do now is we can use one of these thingies, plug it in via USB, and make some noise that way.
Sure.
So let's plug this in to the USB, the second USB input. And it's always back to front. Why is it always back to front? You want to plug something in and it's always the other way around. Okay, so now I've got just this little Arturia thing set up here. So what I've got to do now on here is go to my MIDI ports, and it actually knows there's an Arturia key step 32. We'll select that and press save. And now on the left here, a new little thingy appeared, which is basically the USB MIDI, because we're doing it via USB. The other one up above is
Trad MIDI.
Is actual the pin MIDI, or DIM. Is it called DIM?
I call it Trad MIDI.
Trad MIDI?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Traditional MIDI.
Trad. Okay, yeah. Trad. And now we can go into the generator, and let's use. Oh no, let's go electric piano.
Sure.
So we'll bring out the electric piano. We can now connect it to this. No, we don't do that. We connect it to this.
Yeah, it's what I was talking about. Like, it can be like a project studio, home studio. It can be all your piano engines, your synth engines. You can have the front end for all your guitar sounds, your bass sounds, and even process other microphone audio too. Because there is some studio type compressors and effects in there, which we haven't got into yet, but there'll be another video.
Yeah, there'll be more videos with this, because there's so much stuff that, I mean, this video is going to be too long, and I can hear people whinging about it being too long already, but okay, so I've now got a digital piano, electric piano. Volume down a little bit. Okay, and I just put some reverb on as well. Which is, don't know, let's give it a bit more decay. So without the reverb, quite dry. With the reverb, lovelier. And now, that's technical term.
Yes.
And now let's go to this, and with the electric piano as well, you've got tons of options. So I quite like take the hardness off. Just less clicky, the attack when you play it.
Yep.
And you can, the trem on it is beautiful. So it's got that the vibrato on it, or which is a tremolo actually, which is very pretty. So now we basically have, just like before, where we had two completely separate guitar rigs, we have two completely separate rigs. So we have a guitar rig and the keyboard rig. So for example, and so on and so on and so on. And I mean, you've got tons of stuff.
Until you get bored.
This is digital piano, but you can go in and you can go say, okay, I want
some synthy type stuff.
I want this. Okay, synthy type stuff. Let's go. Nick D. So if you don't want something like this, you can have, for example, drums even.
Drums?
I mean, the other thing is also you have sequencers on it.
Sure.
So you can actually, you could, for example, have two separate guitar rigs and a drum machine.
Yeah, well.
You could have, so I mean, this is just to show you, for example. So you've got, and you've got, I mean, you've got standard drums, you've got standard one. Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, it's typical.
You've got different drums. You've got, but you know, standard 6. What does that say? So that's drums. I mean, you've got tons of stuff. You've got also, I don't know, ensembles. So you've got string sounds. There we go. Down 2 octaves, that's why. String sounds, you've got slow strings.
Oh, velocity.
Aftertouch. No, it's got aftertouch. So you go aftertouch.
That's
How
neat.
cool is that? Slow strings. You've got synth strings. If you want to, you know, redo the final countdown. You've got
we do.
the R choir. And where there's R's, there's probably O's. Ah, how did I know? I mean, one of the things we haven't even gotten into it, you can split the signal in multiple ways.
Yeah.
You can have, and then, I mean, we haven't gotten into that at all yet, and we're probably going to do a completely separate video on that. You can have stereo rigs, but you can have stereo rigs where you have completely wet and dry signal, completely 2 separate outputs. You can send keyboards to 2 separate outputs. I mean, the thing with this as well that you can do is you can have, you could run it as an effects unit for keyboards. So you run your keyboard stereo into it, stereo out. You can completely independently affect each side of your stereo field. I mean, it literally is limitless. And I mean, we won't go on and on and on and on and on about this, but we'll do more videos with it. But it literally is, I think, for me personally, it was one of the more sort of exciting things I've found.
Sure.
Like literally, when I watched that Red Means recording demo, I kind of went, that thing is insane. I need to get it. And I messaged the guys, and they were, like I said again, Adriano at Mod Devices was kind enough to send us one. I mean, to Australia, which is a long way away, but he said, because I think they're based in Germany, in Berlin, which my mum was born in Berlin, so I've got a bit of a connection there. But anyway, it's such an incredibly, insanely good tool. So you have really quite high quality guitar effects, bass effects. You have amp emulation, you have speaker emulation, you have synthesizer sounds, you have 2 completely separate inputs and output stages that you can completely split. You can store different pedal boards and recall. I mean, if you're playing in one band and you're singing and playing keyboards in one band, you have patches for that. You play in another band where you play guitar and keyboards, you have that. You know, you can set up all these different things all in a one unit. You get either their foot switch with extra switches, or you use a MIDI switch like we have.
Yeah, if you already have one.
You can assign anything to it. It's limitless. The new one that's coming out, the ModDuo X, has more switches. It has CV in and out.
Yeah, wow.
Expression pedal in, heaps more buttons, heaps more switches, so you can do much more with it. I think higher CPU power as well. The dog is really interested in the ModDuo X. But for me personally, and we're not getting paid by these guys, they just were kind enough to send us one of these. For me, I think this thing is incredibly unique and quite special.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's an open source thing, it's going to grow and grow and grow and grow. So highly, highly, highly impressive, in my opinion. Super quality effects too.
Yeah, I love the versatility of thing. It can be whatever you need it to be.
Yeah.
Not only the unit, but it can be whatever you need it to be on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's insane. And MIDI in and out as well. I mean, at home, in my home studio, I've got millions of pedals. Check out the video of my...
Yeah.
Kind of the tour of my home studio when I first, set it up. I've got millions of pedals. Lately, any kind of home recording, all I've been using is that.
Yeah, right.
Because you've got any pedal on it. You've got some really cool, unique, like that avocado glitch delay thing, quite a unique pedal. You've got tons of stuff on it. It's all really good quality. And there's constantly more coming. It's killer. So we will do more videos with it. We will do a more bass-focused video with it.
I think so. That'd be fun.
We may get someone in who actually knows how to play keyboards a lot better than me.
Oh, those 4 chords you nailed there.
As long as in C or A minor, I'm jiggy.
Very cool.
We'll do probably some more vocal stuff, some more studio-related stuff. Yep. I'm actually thinking I want to record a whole track.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
Using that for all the instruments.
Get those drums going.
So, because you do have sequences in it. You've got tons of stuff in it. So there'll be more videos. Check it out. Make sure to check out their website, Mod Devices. I'll put a link below. And sorry about the long video and sorry about lots of talking, but there's so much stuff to go through, and there will be more videos coming shortly. So stick around for that.
Yeah, thanks for making it to the end. Really
yes,
appreciate it.
and we will be talking more about it in a podcast, which we will be recording straight after this video.
We're going to stick a link down below. You can check out the podcast as well as Facebook page.
58.
58. There you go. Facebook page, Instagram, and all the other socials you can check out underneath this video.
Yep.
And until next time, see you later.
Bye-bye.